Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. And today I'm so thrilled to have Tim Fitzpatrick with us. And one of the reasons is marketing is such an essential part of business. And yet, most entrepreneurs don't understand marketing and they don't understand how they should use it in their business at their level. So I'm so glad to have Tim on the show today. And he's an entrepreneur business owner with expertise in marketing and business growth. He has 20 plus years experience entrepreneurial experience and a passion for developing and growing businesses. That passion has served him well in operating and managing a wholesale distribution company that he owned for 9 years. And then his company grew an average of 60% in 1 year before it was acquired in 2005. Now, since then, he's had failures and successes, just like every other entrepreneur, that has helped him to continually grow. He started Rialto Marketing in 2013 and has been helping business to business professional service firms that want to accelerate revenue growth and attract more ideal clients. And that's perfect for the Author to Authority podcast. So, welcome to the show, Tim.
Kim, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So we almost didn't get on today, did we, Tim? We were having some tech issues.
Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We had some technical difficulties. Let's hope those are all ironed out.
You know, it's when you're doing these things like doing podcasts and you're trying to do something on a regular basis, sometimes you have things that just, it seems like it attacks you. If you're watching on the live stream right now, you can see that my background is 100% completely dark. And there's a reason for that. We are in day 3 of no power. I heard the power line snap outside my house Tuesday during a blizzard, and we have not had power since. Now, thank God for 2 things. First of all, thank God for my husband because he's pretty handy. And secondly, thank God that my husband has a generator that he knows how to use and power up the house with. So at least I could keep my business running. But, some of the luxuries like a stove, no stove right now. Cooking dinner is quite interesting. So, there are times in your entrepreneurship that things just don't go right. And it's how you deal with them that ultimately make the difference. But again, welcome to the show, Tim. I haven't even given you a chance to say hello yet.
It's all good. Thank you for having me.
So, Tim, why don't you take a moment and just introduce yourself, share more of your story with us, and, talk about some of those things that, you talked about the failures and the successes, and I would love to hear more about that.
Sure. So, again, my name's Tim Fitzpatrick. My company is Rialto Marketing. As you mentioned in the intro, Kim, I started my entrepreneurial journey right after I got out of college. I was a math major. I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do, but I was good at math. I'm good with numbers, and I knew that I could apply that in all kinds of different disciplines. So that's what I did. I majored in math. I got out. My dad had been an entrepreneur for quite a long time. He was a manufacturer's rep. So for those that don't know, he was a middleman. He represented manufacturers, and he sold their products into retail dealers. He was selling consumer electronics, and he had started a wholesale distribution company about a year or 2 before I graduated that was closely related to his rep business. And when I graduated, he had no full-time employees in the distribution company. I knew that he needed some help. And I said, look, Dad, if you're okay with it, why don't I just work for you for the summer and help you out? That it'll buy me some time to kind of figure out what I want to do. I interviewed for some jobs over the summer, and I'm like, man, this sucks. I'm not liking any of these jobs. At the end of 3 months, I was hooked. I was like, I don't want to do anything else. I love this. And I said, if you'll have me, I would love to stay. And fortunately, he said, absolutely. And, I basically ran the company on a day-to-day basis. My dad was involved with strategy. We had another silent partner. And as the business grew, we ended up having other partners that were key employees
Mhm.
for as part of our team. But I ran the company day to day, and it worked really well because my dad gave me a lot of autonomy. He trusted
Mhm.
me. He gave me the freedom to to make good decisions and make some bad decisions, and learn from
Mhm.
those along the way. And I really appreciate that. And that's why I think it worked.
Mhm.
Um, I got to see another side of my dad that I did not as
Mm.
a kid growing up. And I think anybody that's listening to this that has worked with a family member, especially a parent, um, will understand what I'm talking about there. It just gave me a more appreciation for the person that he
Mhm.
is. Um, but we grew 60% a year on average for 9 years, and then we sold it. I stayed on with the company for another 3 years. So this was 2008, 2009 timeframe. I moved with the company at that point. My contract was up, but I decided I was going to continue to work with the company. So I moved from Northern California to the Denver area, where I still am
Mhm.
now. But we got bought by a public company in 2008, 2009. Most of us know what that was like in the
Mhm.
US. And they started really freaking out and looking at, look, public companies manage by the quarter, right? They want to make things look good for shareholders, and maximize stock price. And in early 2009, they laid off. They closed 30% of the branch locations across the country, and they laid off like 30% of the workforce. And I got laid off. So I got laid off from the company that bought us, which was interesting, not as uncommon as some people might think.
Hmm.
So at that point, I was like, man, what am I going to do? Like, this is all I've been doing. I've really enjoyed this. It's been a great chapter in my professional career. And so I took a little bit of time, and I decided that I was going to get into residential real estate. I'd always been interested in real estate. And so that's what I did. A lot of people might be thinking, geez, that was a horrible time to get into real estate. But I've always thought there's opportunities in any market. And in that market, it was foreclosures and short
Mhm.
sales. And so I started knocking on doors.
Yeah.
I started getting the foreclosure list, and I started going and knocking on their doors. And uh, man, I learned so much doing that. It put me outside of my comfort zone daily. But
Mhm.
what I realized, the more I put myself outside of my comfort zone, the more my comfort zone expanded. The first time I knocked on a
Yes.
door, I will tell you, I was absolutely terrified. Um, because I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm knocking on somebody's door who's in foreclosure. They're already in a bad situation in some way, shape, or form. They may have health issues that they're dealing with. They may just be angry because they got laid off from a job. I have no idea what to expect. um, I had some interesting conversations with people, but I just kept learning, and the more I did it, I
Mhm.
got more and more comfortable. But so that part of that experience, that's the biggest benefit I got
Mhm.
from that experience, was putting
Yep.
myself outside of my comfort zone. But about 2.5, 3 years in, I was waking up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not enjoying this. I have to do this all over again today.
Mhm.
And when you own a business, like, in my opinion, if you're not waking up every day excited, enjoying what
Mhm.
you're doing, then you're not doing the right thing. And so I took another step back, and I'm like, I have to do something different. And that's when I decided to get involved in marketing,
Mhm.
which is where I am today. My path in marketing has not been a straight path either. It's been winding. It's taken me a while to really figure out what I want to do within marketing, what I'm good at,
Mhm.
and where I can really help people most. Um, but that's where I am today. And it's today, as you mentioned, we're working primarily with B2B professional service firms, B2B service based companies
Yes.
in general, that that don't have a marketing leader in house,
Mhm.
and we're helping them navigate that marketing landscape so that they can accelerate revenue growth. And so we work primarily in three areas of marketing: strategy, which I think of as fuel; planning, which is where
Mhm.
you outline the vehicles that you're going to use; and then leadership, which is where we jump into that driver's seat to make sure those vehicles get to where they need to go.
Yeah.
So I hope that wasn't too long of a story.
No, that was perfect, Tim. You know, one of the things I've been interviewing a lot of people lately, and One thing that's been kind of common between all of them is the fact that they they ended up doing several different businesses before they found, the true heart, the true passion. And I think, that's encouraging for our audience to hear, because sometimes the first business you start just doesn't make it. It's not the right one. You don't have the right skills, talents, abilities, whatever. But don't quit, because it is there. Sometimes you have to do things. Sometimes you might even have to get a job for a while.
Mhm.
But, if that heart is for that entrepreneurship, in time, like it took me almost 20 years to really figure out where I wanted to be and what I was good at. And I learned a lot of things along the way. I
Yeah.
had one business where I spent a lot of time door knocking. No became my good friend,
Yeah.
because I got a lot of them. But throughout that time, I also got a lot of the yeses too. And so there was so much I learned in that time frame. Now, if you don't ever have to go door knocking, it's not always fun,
No,
but
no,
it
it's not.
definitely makes you resilient,
Yes, it does.
and you definitely have a better appreciation for sales if you've ever spent any time having to knock on doors.
You know, it's so interesting you talk about like how long it takes, because I think it's so easy for us as humans to like compare ourselves to other people and see
Mhm.
other people and go like, oh my gosh, like they're having such fast success. Rarely is the success we're seeing from those people fast. Does fast success happen? It does sometimes, but most of the
It's
time we're
rare.
seeing, yeah, most of the time we're seeing the tip of the iceberg, and they have spent so much time. And frankly, that's why a lot of people don't get into entrepreneurship, because
Mhm.
this is not a like, oh, you put in 1 year and you're good. Uh, for most of us, it's a grind, and
Yeah.
sometimes you think you're on that upward trajectory, and something happens and you feel like you're starting over again, right? And so it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, but uh, there are benefits to it as well,
Yeah.
which I think is why we do it. But it takes time. You got to be
Yeah.
committed.
And then there's other days that you feel like your business is a bowl of spaghetti and you have no clue which direction you're going in.
Yeah. uh, yeah. So that's funny. So it's funny you say that, Kim, because that's one of the things that I talk about a lot with marketing. Is so many of us with marketing,
Mhm.
it's like spaghetti up against a wall, and you're
Yeah.
hoping something's going to stick. And inevitably, even if something does stick, you have no idea why the hell it stuck and
Yeah.
why it worked. And so that's why it's so important, in my opinion, to come back to the fundamentals of
Mhm.
of marketing. It's so easy for us to skip them, especially now. Like when I was in the distribution business, websites, like the internet was like, just, I'm dating myself here. The internet was like in its infancy,
Oh, if
and
you had a website, you had it made.
yeah, and they were informational. It was an informational brochure, basically.
Yeah.
Like if I showed you, I used to do a presentation that had a clip of the Apple website from 1996. Like most people would laugh and be blown away. It's just, it was archaic.
Uh, one thing that I, I've I've really come to appreciate with marketing is the fact that marketing is a long-term game. Like some people have this thing, oh, I'll just hire a marketing company and, within a month or 6 weeks, I'm going to be bringing in so much money and, they're going to do
Yeah.
my ads for me and all this kind of stuff. And it's such a misconception. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 months, like you said, just to figure out, what is the right messaging. Like you said, what's going to stick to the wall, but it takes time to determine, what is that right message that's going to resonate. And sometimes you just have to try a whole lot of different types of messages before you find the one. So I'm going to let you loose, Tim, because I know you've got prepared for us, talking about marketing fundamentals. And I'm so interested to hear this part of the conversation, because I do have a good understanding of them. So I want to see which ones you covered today. So I'm going to let you loose for a bit, and then
Cool.
we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So when we work with clients, we help them remove 9 common revenue roadblocks. I'm going to talk about the top 3 today that I think really lay the foundation. The first one is your target market and your ideal clients within that target market. Everything from a marketing standpoint is grows from there. If we don't understand the market that we intend to attract and the ideal clients within there, everything else is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
When I talk about target market, it's the larger market itself.
Mhm.
Uh, Entrepreneurs, small business, which is people go. Cam,
Okay.
am I losing you?
Yeah, you're losing. We were doing so good there, Tim. I'll just talk for a moment and let's see if you can get back in. He was having some internet issues before. We kept debating, do we move forward? And then things seemed to be really good. So now he's breaking up a little bit. But, I think, you talk about target market. And one of the things I teach in terms of authority marketing is having, that well-defined target market, knowing who that ideal client is, and that without it, how can you be an expert to someone if you don't know who it is you're an expert to?
Yeah. You have to understand who your ideal clients are within the market. One of the easiest ways to really start honing in on who your ideal clients are, if you've been in business for a while, I call them the 3 power questions. Who do you love working with? Who are your most profitable clients, and who do you get great results for? It's the easiest place to start, because if we work with people like that check all those boxes day in, day out, we're going to be in great shape. We're going to love the people. We're going to enjoy our business. We're going to be making money, and we're going to be getting great results for people, which we're going to retain clients. They're going to want to do more work with us. They're going to want to refer us. That's the easiest place to start. And from there, you can dig in to that subgroup and start to look at the demographics, the numbers around those people, and more importantly, the psychographics, their thoughts, their aspirations, their goals. What are the results they're looking for, the common problems they have. With the psychographics, we really start to get into their head. And what commonly happens when we dig deeper into this group of clients that have checked these 3 boxes is we have subgroups that come to the surface that share commonalities. And it's those smaller subgroups that share commonalities that tend to be our ideal client types. And I don't think you should have more than 1 to 3, especially in the beginning. In the beginning, I think you should really focus on 1. And you can certainly expand out from there, but you should definitely not have more than 3. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult and you're going to dilute your focus. But with target market and honing in on your ideal clients, those 3 power questions is the easiest place to start.
Yeah, I so agree with you. And there's something that I say is like, when you try to be everything to everyone, you're nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
But when you're something to somebody, that's when your business changes.
Yeah. So you've got to know who that person is. And once you know who that person is, then you can move into the next funnel or the next common roadblock, which is your messaging. Right?
Are you back, Tim? So one of the things that's just so critical is people want to try and expand out too quickly. And one thing I've learned that it's much easier to convert a higher percentage of people if you have a smaller group that you're working with, because then you can really understand them. And you talked about those psychographics and understanding and getting into that ideal client's brain. And when you can create that when you know them better than they know themselves, that is when, things really start to change. Because when you're messaging, and I think that was just about what you were going to talk about next there, Tim, is your messaging. When your messaging is that strong and the person hears it, they're like, wow, this person really understands me. And I think that's a critical part of marketing, is when, you're sorry, you understand your clients so well that when you do things, they are just so amazed that you get who they are. You understand their problems and you can speak to those problems. And it makes conversion easy when somebody knows that they are understood. And right now, I'm just filling in some time because I think Tim's internet cut out, because I'm here alone on the StreamYard live stream on LinkedIn. So, looks like Tim's back. Let's see. Tim, are you here?
Do you want to keep trying to plow through this, or do you want to?
We're 20 minutes in. Let's keep going. I just had a little chat with the audience about the fact that, when you have that ideal target market, and I think you were going to talk about messaging next, when you have that strong message that just speaks to where they're at, conversion becomes a whole lot easier.
It absolutely does. The challenge a lot of us have with messaging is two common things. One, we make it difficult for people to understand what we do. And the second is we talk too much about ourselves, and our customers don't care about us, right? They care about what's in it for them. How can we help them get from where they currently are to where they want to be? And so our messaging really needs to focus more around the common problems that they have that we can solve, and the results or benefits that they're looking for. And so many businesses make those two mistakes with messaging, and it falls flat. And it's hard. Messaging is difficult because it's challenging for us as business owners to think about our business objectively, which is why it's so important to take it back to your ideal clients. When we work with clients on their messaging, the first thing we do is interview their ideal clients. We want to hear what their clients have to say in their words.
Yes.
And it's that there is gold in that. And honestly, even if you're just starting out, you have competitors. Your competitors have reviews. Online reviews are a great place to go to get information about common problems, results, that kind of stuff, because you want your message to be in their words, not your own.
It's funny you talked about reviews, because obviously as a book publisher, Amazon reviews are play a part in, helping to brand the books. But the reviews that I love the most, it's the 3-star reviews. Because usually they like the book, but they found a couple of things that just didn't sit well with them.
Right.
And usually they'll tell you what those things are.
Yes.
And that has been really valuable information, especially, when you go to, just do some revisions on the book, if you're looking to make a second edition on the book. I love those 3 stars because they give you a lot of it. I mean, okay, the 5 stars, obviously you want to see the 5 stars. That just makes you happy.
Yeah.
And the 4 stars are kind of like, okay, so that's like 90%. I'm okay with 90%, But the 3 stars, that's where the information is. Now, obviously, you don't want the 2 and 1 stars, but one thing I've seen with a lot of the 1-star reviews is they're not realistic. So I used to be in network marketing. I wrote books on network marketing. The titles of the book had network marketing and MLM in them. And my 1-star reviews would be, I didn't know this book was going to be about MLM.
Yeah.
And you just shake your head at those ones.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's so much value there. Because if you can't create a strong message to attract the right people until you know who those people are.
Yes.
Then you need to understand those people. And once you understand them, then you create a message that's going to attract them, engage them, and get them to take action. That's why they're the two biggest roadblocks. And to me, the two main two biggest fundamentals that you have to have in place.
So I want to just stop you for 1 second there. Because one of the things I love to do is just give a few practical hints and tips. So do you have like any practical on, like, let's say someone doesn't have a defined target market or ideal client? What are some ways that they can start to develop it? I mean, obviously working with a professional is the number one way, but sometimes people just aren't ready for that. So,
Mm-hmm.
how can they start figuring out who that target market is?
Well, going back to the 3 power questions that we talked about is the first place that I would always recommend people start. If you're just starting a business, that's going to be a little bit more challenging. And by the way, messaging, target market, none of this stuff is set in stone. Like
True.
your business is always evolving. So a common roadblock for people is like, well, gosh, I don't want to go that narrow right now. But nothing's set in stone. A lot of times I would start to look back on like, what kind of experience do I have? Do I have experience with working with certain types of businesses or certain types of people that may make sense for me in this particular business? If you've got past experience that you can pull on, you can do that. You can do research. I mean, look, there's Google is your friend here. I mean, there's social media groups, there's events, online events, there's forums for almost any vertical or small group. You can do research to really try and start to hone in on what types of clients might I want to work with, or might be best suited for what I want to do, right? Talk to people in the market, figure out what's going on. And then you can make some educated decisions with some information. But where you're really going to start to get a lot of great information is when you start to take action.
Yeah.
It's like you said, sometimes we think we want to work with a specific market, and we start to work with those people and we're like, this is not a good fit. Right. And some of that information, you're just not, you can do all kinds of research.
Yep.
Research isn't going to uncover everything. And as you start to take action and get into it, you learn and you start to make iterations from there. So you're never going to have all the information you need, but do enough research up front so that you feel confident, like, hey, this is worth checking out and testing, and then start to take action from there. But Google, tons of research there. And the 3 power questions, if you've been in business for a while, is the easiest place to start with target market. With your messaging, interviewing people that you've worked with, or if you're just starting out, interviewing people in the market is the best place to get messaging information.
Yeah.
Online reviews is also another great place to get it, because what you want is, what's the problem that they have? What results are they looking for? What have you done that makes you different and unique? It's that type of information that you want to get from them. So I'll give you a perfect example. We worked with a client a while back that was they're a residential siding contractor. So they're selling home siding, roofing.
Tim, are you there? We lost you. Okay, so he cut out for a moment there. You're back! Yay!
Am I back? I'm back. Oh my God! Man, this has been an interesting interview, Kim. I wish my internet would be stable. So, an example: we worked with a commercial siding contractor. One of their reviews, a woman said they treated my house like it was their own. Most commercial siding, most contractors talk about, oh, we're the #1 roofer in Denver, or high quality siding and roofing. Like, who cares? Anybody could say that. But gosh, when a contractor comes into your house and they talk about how they treat your house like it's their own,
Mhm.
It's an immediate promise and an immediate differentiator that it's like, oh my gosh, like I have to talk to these people to find out more. That's a
So Tim,
perfect example.
I'm gonna stop you there because I suspect that my generator went down, and I think I'm probably going to cut out in a moment. So how about we end this here, Tim? I do want to have you back, and we'll redo this one again.
Yes, we should.
Because, like I said, I have a feeling I'm going to lose everything in just a minute. But Tim, thank you
I'm
so
having
much.
issues. You're having issues. We're gonna jump back on when we know we can get through the entire thing.
Yes. So, Tim, if someone's been listening to this and they they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Our website, rialtomarketing.com. The other thing I would make available to your audience is at revenue roadblock scorecard.com. At revenue-roadblock-scorecard.com, you can discover and assess which of the 9 revenue roadblocks is slowing down your business growth and what you can do to fix it. It takes less than 5 minutes, super detailed, customized report. So head on over there as well.
Thank you so much. This has been Tim Fitzpatrick and Kim Thompson-Pinder on the Author to Authority podcast. Thank you so much for your patience today and for listening. And we'll see you on the very next episode. Bye
Thanks,
now.
Kim. Take care.